The Nail, Chapter 5. A few days later, business affairs brought me to the town wherein resided my friend Judge Zarco. I found him as lonely and as sad as at the time of my last visit. He had been able to find out nothing about Blanca, but he could not forget her for a moment. Unquestionably, this woman was his fate. His heaven or his hell, as the unfortunate man was accustomed to saying. We were soon to learn that his judicial superstition was to be fully justified. The evening of the day of my arrival, we were seated in his office, reading the last reports of the police, who had been vainly attempting to trace Gabriella, when an officer entered and handed the judge a note which read as follows. In the Hotel of the Lion there is a lady who wishes to speak to Judge Zarco. Who brought this? Asked the judge. A servant. Who sent him? He gave no name. The judge looked thoughtfully at the smoke of his cigar for a few moments, and then said, A woman. To see me? I don't know why, but this thing frightens me. What do you think of it, Philip? That it is your duty as a judge to answer the call, of course. Perhaps she may be able to give you some information in regard to Gabriella. You are right, answered Zarco, rising. He put a revolver in his pocket, threw his cloak over his shoulders and went out. 2 hours later he returned. I saw at once by his face that some great happiness must have come to him. He put his arms about me and embraced me convulsively, exclaiming, Oh, dear friend, if you only knew, if you only knew. But I don't know anything, I answered. What on earth has happened to you? I'm simply the happiest man in the world. But what is it? The note that called me to the hotel was from her. But from whom? From Gabriella Zahara. Oh, stop such nonsense. Who is thinking of those things now? It was she, I tell you, the other one. In the name of heaven, be calm and tell me whom you are talking about. Who could it be but Blanca, my love, my life? Blanca? I answered with astonishment. But the woman deceived you. Oh, no, that was all a foolish mistake on my part. Explain yourself. Listen. Blanca adores me. Oh, you think she does? Well, go on. When Blanca and I separated on the 15th of April, it was understood that we were to meet again on the 15th of May. Shortly after I left, she received a letter calling her to Madrid on urgent family business, and she did not expect me back until the 15th of May, so she remained in Madrid until the 1st. But, as you know, I, in my impatience, could not wait, and returned 15 days before I had agreed, and not finding her at the hotel I jumped to the conclusion that she had deceived me, and I did not wait. I have gone through 2 years of torment and suffering, all due to my own stupidity. But she could have written you a letter. She said that she had forgotten the address. Ah, my poor friend, I exclaimed, I see that you are striving to convince yourself. Well, so much the better. Now, when does the marriage take place? I suppose that after so long and dark a night the sun of matrimony will rise radiant. Don't laugh, exclaimed Zarco, you shall be my best man. With much pleasure. Man proposes, but God disposes. We were still seated in the library, chatting together, when there came a knock at the door. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. The judge and I were both startled, but we could not have told why. The servant opened the door, and a moment later a man dashed into the library so breathless from hard running that he could scarcely speak. Good news, Judge, grand news. He said when he recovered breath. We have won. The man was the prosecuting attorney. Explain yourself, my dear friend, said the judge, motioning him to a chair. What remarkable occurrence could have brought you hither in such haste and at this hour of the morning? We have arrested Gabriella Zahara. Arrested her? Exclaimed the judge joyfully. Yes, sir, we have her. One of our detectives has been following her for a month. He has caught her, and she is now locked up in a cell of the prison. Then let us go there at once, exclaimed the judge. We will interrogate her tonight. Do me the favor to notify my secretary. Owing to the gravity of the case, you yourself must be present. Also notify the guard who has charge of the head of Senor Romeral. It has been my opinion from the beginning that this criminal woman would not dare deny the horrible murder when she was confronted with the evidence of her crime. So far as you are concerned, said the judge, turning to me, I will appoint you assistant secretary, so that you can be present without violating the law. I did not answer. A horrible suspicion had been growing within me, a suspicion which, like some infernal animal, was tearing at my heart with claws of steel. Could Gabriella and Blanca be one and the same? I turned to the assistant district attorney. By the way, I asked, where was Gabriella when she was arrested? In the Hotel of the Lion. My suffering was frightful, but I could say nothing, do nothing without compromising the judge. Besides, I was not sure. Even if I were positive that Gabriella and Blanca were the same person, what could my unfortunate friend do? Feign a sudden illness? Flee the country? My only way was to keep silent and let God work it out in His own way. The orders of the judge had already been communicated to the chief of police and the warden of the prison. Even at this hour the news had spread throughout the city and idlers were gathering to see the rich and beautiful woman who would ascend the scaffold. I still clung to the slender hope that Gabriella and Blanca were not the same person. But when I went toward the prison I staggered like a drunken man and was compelled to lean upon the shoulder of one of the officials, who asked me anxiously if I were ill.